Yep, it's one of those shows. So Unorthodox is the latest Netflix limited series. It's based on the book. It's about a Jewish woman escaping her Hasidic community in Williamsburg, New York, and the overall effects and pressures that her religion has on her. Now, this is also one of Netflix's first shows that is primarily in the Yiddish language. So you should know up front that it does bounce back and forth between captions and English. They also talk a little fast. I found myself having to rewind the captions just to make sure I didn't miss anything. But outside of that, you should be all right. It starts off with Etsy, the main character, fleeing New York where she currently lives. They don't really give too much backstory at that point. They just show her in a rush to get out. The place that she's trying to escape to is Berlin, and when she gets there, I feel like that's when the show slows down and starts to open up. She runs into a group of people that she ends up becoming friends with, and that's where the two parallel worlds start to develop. The way that the story is told is in two parts. You have the backstory of her life in New York, explaining and fleshing out how she became who she is today. And then you have her present life in Berlin, where she's this free person trying to learn the world. I really like the picture they painted with the religion and faith in this show. It's very heavy in the Jewish community, so you really get an insight as to what their customs are and their beliefs. It's done in a way that it doesn't feel preachy or forced upon you. And it also doesn't feel like they're bashing it as well. They really respect it. There's really three main characters in this show, and I liked how they're from the same community, but their religion had a different effect on all three of them. Shira Haas as Etsy is probably my favorite character of the year so far. She's very grounded in this show. She plays a 19-year-old, but you really think she's younger based on her height and the way that people look down on her. She becomes a wife through an arranged marriage, and she really nails every emotion on cue. You really see how the pressures of that marriage and being this perfect wife, and you see it build up slowly over time to the point that she can't take it and just runs away. You could say she rebels, but in my opinion, I think she runs away from the people more so than the religion. You have her husband, you have her husband's mom, and her own family really beating up on her to become this perfect wife and be this submissive person, and not really taking her feelings into account or trying to see things from her perspective. So, I mean, what options do you have? She really carries the show and makes it her own. You can see how well she acts with older people as well as younger. Amit Raghav plays her husband, and he's so frustrating. He's the one that really abides by his religion the most. On Etsy's side, they tell her that the husband is supposed to be the most dominant one and she's supposed to be the subservient one, but he's more timid and less assertive. He looks down so much when he talks to people. When I first saw his character, I thought he was blind, and I thought him being in the show really gives you a good perspective of somebody that's so devoted to their religion. He can't really understand anything outside of it. When he's introduced to little things like technology, he doesn't really grasp the overall concept of it. Now, believe it or not, Jeff Bush is my second favorite character in the whole show. But character-wise, he's the one on the far end of the spectrum. You have the husband that's the most religious, you have Etsy's character that's unsure of herself, and then you have Jeff. He's the most familiar with the world. He knows about gambling, he knows about technology, he has his fun with the women, and overall, he puts the pieces together throughout the show. He can be menacing without having to be abusive, and I really liked his overall performance in the show. I didn't read the book, but it has a very steady pacing, and the overall tone is so solid. I feel like if the people in Etsy's circle were more welcoming to the arranged marriage and saw things from her perspective, she may have never ran away. And this is the type of show that really gets you thinking about that kind of stuff. I'd say Unorthodox is a beautiful show of epic proportion. Have you seen Unorthodox? What'd you think about it? Let me know in the comments below. As always, don't forget to subscribe, hit the notification bell, and attack the comments section. Peace.